Do you think you have to evict tenants before you can sell your rental? That's not always the case. Selling a home with tenants still living in it can feel a little bit difficult. But here's the truth. There are real practical ways to make it work without turning your life into a nightmare. Before you list or sign a contract, you need to know this though. Tenants in Washington have rights, and ignoring them can stop your sale right in its tracks. In this video, I'll walk you through the strategies landlords are using right now to sell occupied homes even when the tenants aren't exactly making it easy. We're getting practical. I'll show you how to sell a home with tenants still inside without jumping straight to the eviction process. I'm Jeremy Schooler, your Rebel real estate guy. I am the founder of Kitsap Home Pro, a company that's built different, built on purpose, so that we can help real people navigate what I call the common real estate problem. We won't box you into one option. We help you understand the options. We help you create customized solutions for hard to sell homes and property. Before we get started on this video, I want to mention something to you. I'm recording in a different place than I normally do. I had to change things up a little bit, and I'm using some different equipment because of some technical difficulties with all of that. That's why I've got the AirPods in that are doing the audio this time. So things might sound and look a little bit different. And I have my notes off to the side here, which makes me look away from the camera. So I'm sorry that I'm not looking directly at the camera when I'm talking to you this time. I hope that that won't be too distracting. Let's move on with these strategies. Strategy number one is that you could sell to an investor who actually wants tenants. Let's start with the easiest path most landlords don't even realize is an option. There's buyers, especially investors, who actually prefer to buy a home with tenants in place. When a house is empty, you of course control everything, the showings, the timeline, the conditions. With tenants, you lose a lot of that control, and you might think, I got to get rid of these tenants. But there are buyers who, if you have a decent tenant in place, they would actually prefer to buy the house just like it is, because that works very well for them to just assume those tenants, take over being the landlord position, and they immediately have that thing cash flowing the way it should be. Now, of course, in the future, they might want to work to bring value to the property and those things, but they're willing to honor the contract you already have in place with your tenant and play that out and work with it as it is. Strategy number two is to negotiate tenant cooperation. If you've got a problem tenant, not all tenants are completely impossible. Sometimes they just need the right incentive to work with you. So here's a few ways that landlords can negotiate cooperation. These are built to help them, especially your tenants, feel like their immediate needs are being worked with. The first thing you can do is cash for keys. Offering money to tenants instead of, or in exchange for moving out by a certain date. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but it's actually very possible because a lot of times their immediate needs are probably financial. You can also reduce the rent, giving a temporary rent break in exchange for keeping the property show ready and allowing access for showings. Relocation assistance is another option, helping with moving costs or security deposits for a new place. Now, I know it feels unfair for you to have to pay problem tenants. But think about it this way. If you can spend a few dollars now and save you months of stress, lost rent, and legal fees, it might be worth it. Sometimes it's not about fairness, it's just about getting to the outcome that you need. If the cost is there and it's a few bucks, well, so be it. It's not cool, but whatever. Let's get it done and move on, right? Strategy number three is offer some flexibility. If your tenants aren't ready to move right away, you can structure the sale around their timeline. Some buyers will let tenants stay, as I mentioned before, but you could also set that up so it's stay for a certain period of time. You can set up a delayed possession date in the contract, or you can sell with a rental agreement in place and transfer that agreement like we talked about above. This works best with tenants who aren't hostile but just need more time. The key here is clear communication, putting everything in writing and just making it part of the transaction. Strategy number four is to sell as is to a cash buyer. If your tenants are truly difficult or the property itself is in rough shape, sometimes the best move is a straight up as is cash sale. Here's why that might work. No repairs, no stagings, no showings, no waiting. A cash buyer will often take the property exactly as it is, problem tenants and all. This isn't exactly the maximize your profit path, but it's often the peace of mind path. If you're drained from being a landlord, getting out cleanly can be worth way more than squeezing every dollar out of the deal. Something to consider, and somebody else can take on that problem. Strategy number five is to keep communication super clear. This one's simple but very powerful. Communicate. Tenants are often resisting sales because they feel blindsided, threatened, or even disrespected. Even if they're difficult, you can sometimes lower the tension just by being very transparent with them. Let them know what your plans are. If you're beginning to think about selling, maybe just let them know then. Give proper notice, be respectful about showings and timelines. You don't have to overshare every detail of your plans, but the more tenants feel like they're in the dark, the more they're going to want to push back against that. It's just natural. So give them some info, let them have time to settle into the situation. Just like anyone, people often need time to just digest something so they can respond appropriately. Imagine if you were suddenly given just 2 months until you have to find a new place. That would be difficult. That's hard. Let your tenants know what you're thinking. Include them in the process. Try to get them on the same team. I know that doesn't always work, but it's worth a try. If you can both get on the same side of the table and work together, great. So, what do you do if you've got tenants and you need to sell? You don't have to rush into an eviction. You've got other strategies. You could sell to an investor, negotiate cooperation, offer flexibility, do an as-is cash sale, or just keep the communication open and try to make it work. None of these are perfect, but they're all better than feeling like you're trapped. And all of these options are better than moving straight to eviction because that often creates all kinds of challenge. If you're interested in talking about how I might be able to help, this is how I work with sellers. Every single time I make an offer, I'm more than willing to walk you through it. No pressure, no tricks. I'll explain to you the numbers, how I got there, show you the options. I'm just here to help you. Maybe that means I buy your property, but maybe that just means we can brainstorm a bit and help you figure out what's going to work right. If my offer doesn't make sense for you, I'm going to say so right up front. I'd rather earn your trust than your property because real trust leads to real referrals down the road. Maybe down the road, you'll know someone who my offer does work for, and I'd like you to be willing to share my name with them when that time comes. So, in closing, here's the biggest thing I want you to take away. You've got options. Too many landlords assume that they're stuck. They think, I can't sell until I get rid of these tenants, so I have to evict them. Or, no one would buy a house with these tenants in place. That's simply not true. I've seen landlords sell occupied properties to investors, to other landlords, even to buyers who let the tenants stay until they're ready to leave. The key is choosing the strategy that fits your reality, not someone else's opinion. If your goal is the maximum price, you may need cooperation or eventual vacancy. If your goal is peace of mind, an investor or cash sale might be the smarter path. Neither is the right choice, they're just choices. They're options for you to consider. If you're in Kitsap County or anywhere in Western Washington for that matter, and you've got tenants making your life miserable, we can talk through your options. No pressure, just clarity. Because I'm guessing that if you're at that point, this isn't about selling a property, it's about protecting your sanity. It's about moving forward without dragging a problem tenant into the next season of your life. And you don't have to figure out how to do that on your own. Lastly, if you found this video helpful or any part of this series, could you help me out by hitting that like and maybe the subscribe button? Thank you so much. Take care.